Hi everyone, I hope you are having a good weekend. I'm Mark Walker and we're going to look at the sales. Some games worth picking up and ones you should definitely avoid at the end. This episode was brought to you by a lovely little game called QV. Cheers. I think I have a serious problem. Doesn't matter how many weeks I do these sales, I end up just buying more and more and more and more games to fill my backlog, and I just struggle to actually play any of them, which is really odd. I'll sit there swiping through my Nintendo Switch just looking for something to play, even though there's like hundreds of things glaring accusingly at me, and then I head over to the sales again. I think today I'm going to go flat out and I'm going to put hidden codes in like everything. We'll just hide codes everywhere for a laugh. Loads of those will be this war of mine, and I'll dig out whatever else I can find. If you enjoyed the channel, then consider sticking around. And yeah, let me know down in the comments what you're going to be picking up. What's on sale? Let's find out. First up, the greatest game of all time. It's Monster Hunter Generations Ultimate. It's not the greatest game. I really like it. It's currently 68% off, taking it down to £14.39, which is an absolute bargain. If you're considering picking up Rise, is that the name of it? Rise? It is Rise, isn't it? Yeah, Monster Hunter Rise, which is coming out in March. Then this will be a nice little introduction to you. I know many of you have bought it over the months, but this is its lowest price ever, and it's very reasonable indeed. If for whatever reason you've never played them, you generally would team up with other players online, but you don't have to. There is a single player mode here as well, where you'll just be spamming the button to get through the story, because what you want to do is actually fight the different monsters. But it's very cool. There are 9 different weapon types, and you can master and learn these. And there's a bit of a showing off aspect as well if you find some other people to play with. Very good games, brilliant in fact, and hundreds of hours of gameplay. I know you like to know the download size. This one's 11.5 gigs, so it's pretty chunky, and that sale goes on until December the 3rd. A big thanks to QV, who have sponsored this video. What is QV? Well, it's a new interdimensional adventure title with a lovely action-adventure twist. It combines classic anime styling with some puzzling as well. The main character, QB, has to explore different ancient ruins and has a series of powers that allow her to do things like walk on water or draw portals. As well as this, she can warp anywhere and walk on lava using her magic brush, and each of the ruins that you go to are basically a set of puzzles that have their own themes. There's things like desert, jungle, and it's one of those games where it can be quite simplistic to begin with, but then becomes challenging. But thankfully it has 4 difficulty modes, so you can tweak it to your own taste. You can already pre-order this one in Europe, Australia and Japan at 20% off, or if you're over in North America, then that will be on the 19th, and it releases on November the 26th. Once again, a big thanks to these guys for sponsoring the video, and if you like the look of it, then go check it out. All the links will be down in the description. One that I finally got around to playing is Akami HD. I bought it a long time ago. I played the introduction and then stopped playing just because other things came up that we had to review. This is a beautiful game. Really is lovely. It comes from Capcom, has a 9.1 gigabyte download, and it uses that Sumi-e ink art style where you'll be taking on the role, and I'm going to say this wrong, of Amaterasu? Nah, that's definitely wrong. But it's the Japanese sun goddess who essentially looks like this awesome white wolf, and you have this ability using like a celestial brush where you have to like draw on the screen. It's very cool, and it makes good use of the Joy-Con, or if you're in handheld, you use your finger to do touch. It's really nice game, this. Really good adventure, and it's long as well. It's a decent length. You're looking at about 40 to 50 hours. That sale goes on until December the 3rd. You have to mention Hyperlight Drifter, the special edition. It's got to be done. I know this art style might be a bit, not tainted, but it's been so overused and done so poorly on many other titles. Some people are just sick of it and they won't even try games like this, but trust me, Hyperlight Drifter is a brilliant game and probably one of the best in this genre. It's currently 50% off, taking it down to £9, and everything about this port was done right. It runs at 60 FPS. The world is really interesting. It's full of quick action, the combat's very cool, and hopefully some of you who know how good this is can put down in the comments, because yeah, I get it, there are so many poor pixel art games on Switch. Let them know down in the comments that this is not one of them. This is a great game, and the weapon you use, the blade caster, it's very cool. I like this game a lot, as you can probably tell, and that sale goes on until December the 2nd. Oh, and it has a download size of 856 megs and a game length of between, pretty slow, so for me it was more like 15 to 25 hours, but you could, if you were rushing, do it a bit quicker than that. As a massive strategy fan, there aren't, let's be honest, that many real-time strategy games on the Nintendo Switch, and the ones that are there, they're not the best. One of my favourites is Northgard, which Glen reviewed for us on the channel, but that's currently 60% off. It was pretty dear before, it was about 31 quid, but it's down to £12, which is an absolute bargain. It's had a couple of patches since launch, it had a few performance issues. Still not perfect, but I think it's good enough, and let's be honest, when you're playing a strategy game, frames per second is not your primary concern. Well, I guess it depends who you are, but it's certainly not as important as it is in a fast-paced action game. You have to build up your settlements, which are all based on the continent of Northgard. You can assign different roles, a bit like you did back in Settlers, things like farmer, warrior, sailor, lawmaster, and there are a number of different victory conditions, which is always nice. It means you don't have to just go and destroy everyone. You can actually win by just being the most famous. Man, that would be awesome. This one has a download size of 702 megs, and it's going to take about 40 to 80 hours to complete. And there's also a DLC which is 60% off for this as well if you enjoyed the game. Have you played this one? Did you enjoy it? Let me know down in the comments. And that sale goes on till the 1st of December. Funnily enough, Glen and I were recently talking about beat-em-ups. Like, he absolutely loves beat-em-ups. They're probably his favourite genre. He's even got an arcade cabinet. What is it? The Turtles in Time arcade cabinet? It's amazing. I'm not jealous of that at all. But it is very cool. And I know he loves the Capcom beat-em-up bundle. It's currently 50% off, taking it down to about 7 quid, which is a steal. It really is. It's got classics that even I know about. Things like Final Fight, Captain Commando, The King of Dragons, and a few others. I mean, 1 out of 3 isn't bad. I can feel Glen cringing. Quite a nice one probably to play through at Christmas time. You've got offline 1 to 4 multiplayer, you can do local linking of switches for 4 of them, or you can play online 1 to 4 players as well. Beat-em-ups aren't usually the longest games, and here you've got about 10 to 20 hours of gameplay for your first playthrough, but let's be honest, you're going to play through multiple times. Yeah, I think that's a bit of a bargain at that price, and well worth picking up. Okay, we're going to hop over the pond then to the US side and we'll have a look at some of their sales. First up, we've got Ancestors Legacy, and this is another one I couldn't help myself, I had to buy it. Glen reviewed it for us and it looks like everything I like in a strategy, like a real-time strategy game. It has aspects, I guess, of the Total War series, and you'll probably be able to see that just by looking at it, but maybe on a slightly smaller form factor. There are 4 different playable nations that you can take control of through single-player campaigns, and it takes inspiration from history, but is not a direct historical account. The terrain and different things like that will affect the morale of your troops, and it performs well as well. It's got a decent frame rate, looks alright. There are different nations such as the Vikings, the Anglo-Saxons, the Germans, and even the Slavic nations. At 50% off, it's not going to be one of the cheapest sales we look at today, but I'd say it's going to offer you a decent amount of gameplay. You're looking at a 4GB download, and I know that this sale also extends to places like Amazon or Best Buy or wherever you get your games from. It seems to be on sale physically as well. But on the eShop, it goes on until November the 30th. Then there's the really decent Minecraft Dungeons. It's a good game, and it's a little bit more like a Diablo style. They've added a few new areas since it launched, but this is the Hero Edition, and it's currently 33% off. And again, the same physically. What I liked about this was I could grab another couple of controllers and let my kids play. It has up to 4 players local co-op. It's very accessible. There's ranged weapons, you can use your sword, you can get different gear. It's not as good as Diablo, but I probably wouldn't be playing through that with my kids. And if you're a fan of Minecraft, I think you're going to enjoy it. It's had a few patches since launch as well, and this pack contains the original game. It has the Season Pass, the Jungle Awakens DLC, as well as the Creeping Winter DLC, so not bad at all really, and if you've held off on it, maybe now is the time to pick it up. If you're after some good old-fashioned arcade racing, then Rise Race the Future is one of my favourites on Switch. It's 35% off, taking it down to about $10, and I really liked this. It has quite a nice drifting mechanic to it. I know it's not for everyone, but you've got 60 FPS gameplay, 64 different races, 8 championships. Look, and forget all of this nonsense, because the best bit is when you ride onto water, your vehicle turns into a hovercraft. That is awesome. One big consideration though, and it's something that I just never understand, is that it doesn't have local multiplayer. In fact, it doesn't have any multiplayer at all. It's very much a single player racing experience. And if that's what you're after, then you're going to have a great deal of fun, but something definitely to be aware of if you're going to think of buying this one. That sale goes on until December the 10th. Okay, well, the eShop's a bit hit and miss this week in terms of the American regions, but what I'm going to do now is throw in a couple of physical deals because the Black Friday sales on physicals have well and truly begun. One of the greatest games ever, Fire Emblem Three Houses, is currently 50% off at GameStop if you're going to go physical, and that is an absolute steal. As the title suggests, there are 3 houses. But actually, I believe, I don't know if they've done it already, but they're adding a 4th house, and it's such a good game. Really, really good game. There's an incredible amount of depth to the tactics, and I think it's still the same where you can permanently lose some of the members of your team, which adds a real weight to the decisions that you make and who you take with you into battle. I know there are easier difficulty modes if you want to avoid that, but I think that's all part of the fun, isn't it? It's all part of the experience. And last but not least then, and probably the game I would pick up for your kid, like if you're going to buy them a Nintendo Switch for Christmas, this is what you want to get them. And it's The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. There is a reason this game is still amazing, even after I've completed it twice. It's an incredible title, and it's currently 25% off if you're going to buy from Amazon, Target or Walmart. And here in the UK, not quite as good, but still pretty decent. We can get 20% off if we buy it on Amazon at the moment, or 17% from places like shop2.net. I know this is still quite expensive, but let's be honest, we're not going to see a massive sale on this, and 20 or 25% off is the lowest we're going to get. And as I'm sure a couple of people let you know down in the comments, if you're thinking about buying this for your kid, it's an incredible game. Absolutely brilliant. No, it's not perfect. 10 out of 10 scores for things like this, in my opinion, are just ludicrous, but it does so much right. It's just a lovely experience, and I can imagine a kid getting this at Christmas. Man, that's going to be memory central. All right, that's it this week for the games that are worth buying. Let's have a look at 2 titles that you should avoid, like hiding game codes in every segment of the video, and then forgetting where you've hidden them yourself. Ay caramba. And first up, we have Blacksad, which I should have absolutely loved, but it was appalling on Switch when it launched. The performance was a joke. Then they released a patch and were like, hey, check this out, we've patched it. So I played that, and it was a joke. And I think they've released another patch now, and performance still isn't where it should be. The Switch just isn't the place to own this game. For whatever reason, they've failed to get it running and looking the way that it should. And to be honest, with a game like this, it's not that demanding. The way that it definitely should look much better than this. It's not worth buying it on Switch. Then you've got Silk, which made the claim to fame as being, and this was in their marketing, the largest open world adventure game like ever. So they were saying things like it's like 47 times bigger than Skyrim and 212 times bigger than the world in GTA. Unfortunately, what they've left out of their marketing is that it's 472,000 times less fun than all of those games put together, which is disappointing for me because I was really looking forward to it. There's the potential here for fans of old text adventures, and there's some trading on the Silk Road, and don't get me wrong, underneath it all there's something that you could, if you're a very specific, very niche type of player, enjoy. It's just so dull and very, very slow indeed. Still, you never know, it might be for you. I don't think so. Great stuff. So that's it for this week. There are tons more games on sale, but trying to keep it succinct and select, and these are the games that I would recommend. Do have a little trawl through the video, see if you can spot some of those codes. If you do find one and it doesn't work, then it means that someone else has beaten you to it. It will say whether it's an EU or a US code next to it. And do make sure you subscribe to the channel for lots more Nintendo Switch related stuff, loads of reviews and everything else we do. A big thanks to all of our patrons who support us each and every month, and for all of you who leave comments down below. For all things Switch, all the time, keep it Switch up. Cheers guys, see ya!